What's up? It's your boy Cartino talking to you live. I ain't gonna make this super long. For people who just clicked on this is the live feed, so we're talking to the people live, direct. I'm giving them time to get in here. Nah, I really don't sleep. It's gonna be an early night for me though. Sorry about that, kind of straighten things up. Listen, Bill O'Reilly was fired by Fox and told don't come back after your vacation. Amidst all these sexual harassment suits and this misogynistic ways of his, too many cases for Fox to ignore. Fox sponsors have all took off and left. The show has suffered tremendous amount of strain due to the fact of Bill O'Reilly's behavior. Bill O'Reilly has had a history of this behavior, of rumors about his behavior rather, for years. Nothing was done about Bill O'Reilly. Nothing. People were afraid they would lose their jobs if they said something. What Fox did is Fox knew about his behavior. They knew. They knew. What did he do? He had several women complain about him making sexual advances towards them, making comments about them. So, women who were afraid, Fox set up a hotline where you could be anonymous and go in there in the hotline and say something in regards to Bill O'Reilly or anybody else if you had any problems with any employee from the company, so that you wouldn't get in trouble. All you had to do was go in there and make a complaint. If you didn't trust going to human resources, you can call the Fox Anonymous hotline. But people didn't trust the anonymous hotline. Because if you're familiar with Fox, you know that things are very male dominant there. And they're afraid of losing their jobs. No, Marv Albert was biting hoes. He wasn't biting co-workers, he was biting hoes. What a spectacular move. Yeah, Marv Albert was going crazy. They're like, Marv, you paid for the ass. They ain't tell you to bite it. So now, Bill has had this elitist attitude for years. You know, when he was on A Current Affair, he had the same thing. But Fox only cares about numbers. Once you affect their money and their bottom line, now it's a problem. Sponsors start to leave. They start to see protests that are effective. Once they start seeing their shows drop like 16%, 28%, that is a big, I'm sorry, but ass is not even a cuss word. It really isn't. It's just frowned upon, but it's not really a curse word. There's a lot of words that are not in the Bible. Carcino is not in the Bible. Doesn't make it a cuss word. It's not a Carcino video if I'm not eating. But Bill O'Reilly had a temper problem, elitist. He loves the fact that he's in control. When he went at it with against rappers or anybody else, he gets upset when things are not going in his way. Like when Cameron was up there, oh, look at him, you mad, we got him mad. He was mad. So, of course, now he's got to find a new outlet. Fox has showed him you're not bigger than the network. And what he's saying is this is all allegations. Nobody's even made a complaint to the anonymous thing. All of these things just come out of the air. Well, if that was the case, Fox would not have fired you. Fox let you go because they demanded your termination. And you were affecting their bottom line. And it's all about the dollars. And they'd rather have their bottom lines and their sponsors come on back rather than have you sit there and do the show when they're down 16%. Oh, you think Fox cared about the morals? The moral of the story is you're out. You're affecting our bottom line. Fox is going to have your back until they see the numbers are not having your back. Once the numbers don't have your back, you are expendable. Oh, I look out of shape. I'm in great shape. You're looking at a mountain of muscle. The most devastating athlete in professional sports. What you mean, sit around and do nothing all day? What a life. I just was in Florida. Did you not see that? Seven's the number. Sevens, you know, 7 dwarfs. No one said anything about 6. 7. Seven's the number. Oh, Spun. What is the real issue? We were talking about Bill O'Reilly being fired from Fox for sexual harassment and all those cases he had pending. And they asked for his removal, and because of the numbers are gone, they removed him. What would you like to talk about, Spun? You mad? You mad? Hey, we got him mad, bro. You mad? I want Spun. Come on, Spun. Tell us what you want to talk about. Well, Spun is disqualified for conversation. He said, let's talk about some real news and then bring up some tabloid stuff. You see? That's why you can always trust the general public to be themselves. Troy Ave. Everybody's telling me to go listen to Troy Ave. He dissed Joe Budden. I'm like, okay. He said the same thing about Joe Budden. I have said, everyone else has said, period. I don't really care for Joe Budden. I think he's just an opportunist trying to do what he's doing, whatever. I listened to him on the show, and just as I thought, he's one of the reasons the show with Everyday Struggle with him and DJ Academics, he's one of the reasons the show is where it is right now. And the show started off with some potential, then they didn't address their potential. They went to the thing that he talk about he hates. They went to that form. He went from, I'm doing this for the culture. I don't care. I don't care about a podcast. I just do it. I don't care about DJ Academics. I don't care about Complex. I don't care about anything. But I'm here and I will be here to get my check. But I don't care about any of that. I'm here for the culture. It's like there's no culture there. You keep saying there's no culture there, but you're doing it for the culture, and everybody's scratching their head like, what is you even talking about? Why are you talking about you doing it for the culture? And like, there's nobody here that even know what you're talking about. You're like talking to some people. He's like that old grandfather who's talking about the Wild Wild West to his grandkids, and they're like, what is grandpa talking about? I don't know. They say we got to sit here and listen. The name of the day and the name of the show is Everyday Struggle. I'm like, what is the point? Where is the everyday struggle? All I'm seeing is Joe Budden talking to DJ Academics. That's all it should be called. Joe Budden talks to DJ Academic. Because that's all the show is. Joe Budden talking to DJ Academic. That's the show. Academic comes in and say a couple of things and Joe Budden shuts him right up. Every time he tries to talk, no, let me say this one more time. No, you shut up. You just shut the F up. You're just a YouTube nigga. You don't know anything. You weren't around, Academic. You're not even a real DJ. The worst thing they ever did on this show so far is when they went around looking for the writer at Complex. I see the video, people sending me the link. Ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, whoa. Here comes these links. Ding, 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 ding. Joe Budden attacks a writer at Complex. I said, oh, really? They finna go this route? I said, man, let me play this. And now I feel like I've been duped. And I knew it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Trash. All of it was trash. You doing it for the culture, yet you subject yourself to do this trash to get some views. Because they know that attracts the stupid people. That's lame. That's something that people of the culture would have been talked down to doing. You think they would have got Nas to do something like that? That's something a rapper of the culture would not have been up for doing. You talking to a guy that sits behind a desk and type all day. And did you look how those guys look? They look fat, sloppy, and out of shape, right? All those writers that was be in the office, that's how they look. Because they don't get up a lot. They sit down and they're on the computer all day. So when you see academics and all these guys, and you're like, wow, that's what he looks like? Yeah, because they sit down all day. Me, I get up, I go to the gym. You see me at the movies, I'm everywhere. I'm active, baby. In academic, he can't get a word in. And then I'm thinking like, man, okay, I'm here to support academic because I want him to do great. I'm like, dude, you coming from the YouTube community, I want you to do great here. I want them to say, man, okay, well, this YouTube guy is doing something. Now you're making the YouTube guy look bad. Because now you're basically sitting back, fake drinking out of a cup, and then you're just basically saying things in response to Joe, or you cracking on Joe. I'm like, dude, have some knowledge. Prepare. Do something when you come out there and actually do the show. And I'm like, my goodness. You wouldn't waste your time. Would I do better? Of course I would do better on a show like that. You know why? Because I wouldn't be on a show like that. I know. You one of the people that you didn't see a problem with anything I just said. You're the target audience. Because I just overlaid to you issues within the show. Something that has innate value to the program. But they're not looking for that. They're looking for the stupid, the uninformed, people who like to remain dumb and want to say, oh, he talked about Joe Budden's shirt. He riding on Joe. That's who they make the show for. So if you fall in that category, this is your show. Unfortunately for me, I thought this was going to be more of a hip-hop show with a little some of that on the side. But instead, I didn't get that show. They need to prepare better instead of rehearsing. There's a difference. When you prepare for a test, let's say it's a test. Every episode is a test. You prepare for that test. You study. You get ready for that test. What they do is they sit there and they rehearse how they gonna go back and forth against each other. They have a little mock thing where they do a pre-show where they actually talking back and forth, arguing, getting their little points together so that when they do the show, it sounds corny and pre-organized. It don't sound natural. Have any of y'all heard my Real Brothers? Have any one of y'all listened to my Real Brothers videos? Now, if you heard my Real Brothers videos, you know my Real Brothers videos. Go back and listen to the playlist. Real Brothers Speak. Those Real Brothers videos is 10 times better than anything on that show that you just saw on Everyday Struggle. I'll take the Pepsi challenge to that. Because that's real talk. Now, I give that show Everyday Struggle its just due. I'm happy that they actually brought on a guy from YouTube and DJ Academics and Joe Budden. And they said, hey, let's try to do a Undisputed, but for hip hop. They're not the first person to come up with that idea. But I'm glad that Complex got behind it and said, well, this guy got a big enough following, let's give it a shot. But like I said, this show isn't designed for me. It's designed for people that's about 10, 15 years younger than me, who don't think very well. This is your show. Who have I insulted? Moon Man Motivation. Who did I insult? Nope. I didn't insult the youth. I said this is your show. This show is designed for you. So if you're the youth, this is your show. People who don't think very well, this is your show. Absolutely. If you don't think very well, Everyday Struggle is a show you should watch. Because you'll get off on it. Why do I need to talk about somebody's gay sex tape? Who wants to talk about that? There's plenty of subjects I don't even touch. I could be making Troy Ave videos every day. If that was the case. If I were trying to get views, just throw out a Troy Ave video. Of course, Bill O'Reilly will land on another network, but it won't be for a while. You see, he might land on internet before he lands back on television. But not right away. You gotta take some time off to let things blow over. People's attention span seems to fade. If I was on First Take, I would embarrass a lot of people. And since we're talking about Bill O'Reilly and a lot of other different things, we finna let it fly here. Because now I'm finna talk about ESPN. Listen, ESPN has been a giant in its field for a long time, but when they don't have any topics, or when the storyline gets too dry, to see them try to come up with something as a storyline, it's ridiculous. Listen, the Isaiah Thomas situation with his sister. The man is clearly hurting on the sideline. Now, I know Charles Barkley is the guy everybody deemed we can just throw everything at Charles Barkley and everybody gonna be like, yeah, screw Charles. But to take something Charles said out of context and try to use it on the debate as the show and make it an issue or of a topic for the show, that was very low down by ESPN, and it was done on purpose. And the reason why it was done on purpose was because Charles Barkley told the whole world how ESPN worked them like slaves. They got to do ESPN 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stay up all night long. And how he would never work for ESPN because they don't pay enough. So he exposed a lot of those guys at ESPN, how they're not getting paid what they're supposed to make. Charles brought all that to the light. Charles' TNT contract is very lucrative because inside the NBA would be nothing without Charles. Shaq could go, Kenny could go, Ernie's a staple. Charles is the show. But what Charles Barkley said was that he felt uncomfortable for the players in that situation to have to see Isaiah Thomas crying like that, on the sideline. It's obvious he's not ready to play basketball. You know, this guy's not in any condition, and he feels helpless in the situation. So he feels uncomfortable being in that situation to have to talk about that and then turn around and have to go and commentate about basketball and do their job. And it's unfortunate for the players there because Bradley have to come over and console the guy. And that's hard. That's an uncomfortable situation. Nobody wants to think about the game when you see real life hitting you right in front of your face. And him and Bradley are so close because they grew up in the same area. Now, I'm not saying that the people on First Take did a bad job in representing what Charles Barkley said, but talking about you got to be careful in how you say things. I understand that. They set it up where they know who's going to be the antagonist and protagonist of the conversation. Stephen A. Smith took the side of defending Charles Barkley, and unfortunately, the other two white guys, Max Kellerman and the other guy, decided to take the role of Charles should have watched his mouth and shouldn't have said it that way. So therefore, they decided to get together. Yeah, Will came. The guy who I said should have replaced Max Kellerman. Now they got him on the show. So that tells you I formatted the entire show of ESPN. First Take. I told them what was going to happen. I told them what was wrong with the show, and they did exactly what I said. But that's another story. Let's go. Yeah, I know Beast Mode. You don't believe it, and that is why you fail. Now, let's move on. Remember, ESPN tried to hire me. They tried to hire me, offer me a job. So what is you talking about? I'm always honest, so you ain't got to keep me honest. But there was nothing wrong with what Charles Barkley said. But Isaiah Thomas is an NBA player. The NBA are very respectful of their family. And especially when something like that happens. Beast Mode, I've shown proof of that many times over. ESPN showing me that I showed the email plenty of times. ESPN Chicago. Believe it, there's a Chicago here. It's not a big deal. This is like, what, 2 years ago? You still got Errol Spence? Good. You can have him after he lose. Why did I turn it down? Because they didn't get to the money. And I said, I know what you're trying to do. And no. What they were interested in was having me come in, backing up whatever in the world they were doing, having control over me, and going from there. No, they didn't promise me my own show. They promised me a show that they were working on here in Chicago, which was a radio show. ESPN Chicago wanted me on the show. I've shown this on video I don't know how many times. Well, I've actually showed the email. ESPN wanted to control what I was saying, my content, and I didn't need them. I didn't title a video, ESPN wants to hire Carcino. That wasn't the video. But it was in a video I did. D-Lo Cowboys, are you ready? You ready to get that ban? You keep talking like that, you will not be in this chat. Ah, Serena being pregnant. Woo! I was not happy about that one. A lot of people are going off saying she sold out, but she plays a sport that's predominantly played by Caucasians, so she ends up with a Caucasian man. She dated a lot of black men, but for some reason, she did a lot of things in her lifestyle that she did, and the people she hung around were all African American and Caucasian. She dated Common. She dated Drake. Drake took her from Common. And she's supposed to have my kids, but I guess she wanted to leave me out in the cold. But she slept with Brett Ratner. And then that didn't make no sense. Brett Ratner? Brett Ratner? Brett Ratner. The guy who did Rush Hour? I mean, Serena would have had to adjust to my lifestyle here, but I'm quite sure she would have fit right in. It's better than the house she was in Compton. You heard of Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker? Rush Hour, then you know Brett Ratner. He made the movie. Brett Ratner. Well, I don't know Paula Newton. You got to send me some photos. Well, I knew it was coming because Nicki's people still, if you guys go look at that Nicki Minaj video I put out, go look at how many haters. I got 100 dislikes in the 100 dislikes. It's like, really? That's all your team could muster up? Is 100 dislikes? Leaving some crazy comments. Like, really? They playing No Frauds on the radio like it's something new. People don't even pay no attention to it. Excuse me. Thank you, Albert. What do I think about Aaron Hernandez? Watch the video that I have in my timeline, and you will be caught up on what I think about Aaron Hernandez. Well, I like to drink 7-Up because being an African American man, I understand that dark soda is very bad for us and for our kidneys. Well, a lot of people feel that way, and it is kind of mysterious. So a lot of people don't think he died the way they thought. Sprite has a little too much sugar. Have you seen a show called Billions? Ben Porter. What's up, Ben? Racine's in the house. The home of the interracial couples. Y'all should be happy Serena got pregnant. Finna have a mixed baby. And boy, the black community is through with her. Me, I don't care. Whatever people choose to do, that's their life. You got to look at Bill O'Reilly. Okay? Who was Bill O'Reilly? Trez, how you gonna say Serena never liked black guys? That's all she would date is black guys. Like, no. Venus is the one that always dated a white guy. Venus was dating a white guy in college when she went to school, and she was both basically more focused on her relationship and her getting well and healing and all that stuff more than her career. So that's where they were at with it. Bill O'Reilly's, I mean, he had a popular show on the network, but his thing about him being an elitist, and that's what happened with people with power. They don't know their limit. They're so used to being in control and having power that nothing you say can budge them or move them. They're like this. He was very disrespectful, and a lot of people were making noise about this. So Fox were losing a lot of money because organized rallies were put in place. And because the organized rallies were put in place, they were causing a flux of people not to watch Fox, period. To the fact that sponsors started pulling away. And when sponsors start pulling away, you see these guys starting to fall in line. So when people started to fall in line, they said, wow, okay, Fox is not playing game. Bill O'Reilly was, but now that show has dropped 16%. There are other shows that used to follow it. It's down 28%. Fox is losing money. Sean Hannity's show is going down. All the shows on Fox were going down. The sponsorships, it was leaving Fox, and all they demanded was Bill O'Reilly gone, and then they would stop. So they put him on vacation for 2 weeks. And after the 2 weeks, they were like, don't even come back. So all his power he thought was an illusion. Fox showed you who owned the network and who had the power. Murdoch owns Fox. Dick Murdoch. See, they didn't care when blacks wanted to boycott Fox or didn't do it and put on protests because we didn't go about marching the right way. We didn't go about protesting the right way. We did things for a look. When we protest, it was for a look. Like, look at me. I'm protesting Fox. Look at me. No, organized protests are different. You got to know how to hurt people. And the only way to hurt rich people is to affect their bottom line. Then you have their attention. Then congratulations, August Higgins. To me, I never understood why every time they want to go and attack a black man, they go after his sexuality. Oh, he was sleeping with this guy. Oh, he must be gay. Oh, he must do this. Oh, he must do that. Like I said, here I tell you everything. There was a football player who's not in the NFL no more, who used to be a quarterback for the Denver Broncos, who's playing baseball right now. And there's a reason why he's not in the NFL, even though he won games. And word around the campfires, he's a Tinkerbell. So he says that he wants to get married, and he's a Christian. That's why he doesn't have sex. But that's his own prerogative. When he's ready to come out and tell the world, just don't be surprised. Oh, there's no probably about it. Go listen to him do an interview. Pull up any interview from him. You'll see. You're going to be like, how did I miss this? This dude said, if you won't sleep with Katy Perry, you gay. I do not think that chick is hot at all. I don't know what people be thinking. She's a girl that came through and got by on her tits. For real. Congratulations to you for pulling that off. Katy Perry. But other than that, I don't see Katy Perry as nothing. Yeah, and that's all you saying. She made her fame, went on Saturday Night Live, bouncing her big boobies around. Then you know what she did? She went out and blamed everybody else who did it. I know we all got it, but we don't all have to flaunt our stuff. She was trying to talk about all the other girls that was doing it, like Nicki Minaj and everybody else. She telling them how they need to cover up. I'm like, chick, that's how you got in the game. You might not choose to do it anymore, but hey, that's how you got started. So you created this. But it's the pot calling the kettle black. You see, I've never been the one to stand for the tearing down of Martin Luther King. You know, that's what always gets me about people. They allow other people to get in their brains and manipulate them. Why would you want to tear down an African American man who did so much for people? He didn't have to do any of this. He didn't have to die. He didn't have to do any of it all. He could have stopped, went and preached, and never did anything else. This man challenged the union, and it cost him his life. And he still did it, knowing that he was going to probably die. Knew that he risked his life and went over the line, and he still did it for the betterment of people. So he put others before himself. And y'all would tear that man down and say, oh, he was a pawn for the Jews and the Jews is this. Why would y'all want to tear down a man who didn't have to die for your betterment? That's what just baffles me sometimes. Okay, but here's the scenario. Why is there a need to compare? What's the comparison about? So, okay, you're saying he's great. Okay. Martin Luther King is great. So that means Malcolm X can't be great also? You saying Malcolm X is greater than Martin Luther King? Why can't they both be great? You realize they both were friends before Malcolm died before Martin. Malcolm X wasn't about violence. See, you guys don't even know what you're talking about. Malcolm X was about self-defense. The same rights that apply to everyone else also applied to you. That's what he was about. They both just had different directions in going there. Alan Moss, this thing has nothing to do with Pimp C. Oh, X-Men was made. Well, you can see it that way. Okay, hold on one second. Here's ESPN sending me my email. What does it say? Get paid for your sports opinions. Sent to me by where? ESPN. You are invited to join our Chicago research panel. As you see, I will not take them up on that offer. I know what that offer inclines. That's why I'm not interested in doing that. So it's not like I don't have these opportunities to do these things, like talk shows and podcasts. These other people went through this whole podcast movement thing, and I decided not to get started. Well, I have to reconsider it if Jamel Hill is in the subject. Now, have you seen the new trailer for the Krypton TV show that's coming on Sci-Fi? No, it talks about sisters when Superman wasn't even born yet. This is about Jor-El and his life on Krypton and all the things that was happening leading up to the explosion. Which is gonna go, it's gonna go into the house of El, which you're really gonna see how they stole that from Egyptian. What Superman is supposed to be is the Elohim, which is Hebrew for God. That is Superman. With the guy you call Horus, power comes from the sun. His name is Kal-El, Jor-El, the house of El. That's Elohim, Elohim. And when you watch the show Krypton, they're talking about what is basically Egypt. Krypton is Egypt. And all of the things that are happening in Egypt, they're using for Krypton. And they said how Krypton was destroyed, it blew up, and the god left. So all of these different things are in this new Krypton trailer. How they cut their hand and poured blood to the crest of Superman. All of it is Egyptian. All the followers of the Elohim are known as the children of El. In the Superman comics, they just call it the House of El. Everybody name has a hell. Remember, what's his name? Randall El, the football player? Star Wars Episode 9, you just jumped right over 8, huh? And went straight to 9? We'll do a live chat on Star Wars. Yes, Brian Murphy, we're going to do the Tupac trivia this week. Now that I'm back, we can get that done. Well, you're looking at a situation where, honestly, the people involved still got a lot of learning to do. Of course, Joe Budden watches my video. Whenever you insult somebody so much, and the way I did it and the way I did it comically, he was a good sport about it. He realized it was a joke. He didn't take himself very seriously. So I didn't have a problem with him on that notion. Because he saw the fun in it. But I also laid off the guy. But he also was addressing me on his show without using my name. They love to do that, to act like they're bigger than you so much. Like, I don't want him to get any publicity off this. It's like, fool, people are not stupid. Just like when Charlemagne did it. And he brought all that attention to me because I hit a nerve. One of my videos hit a nerve with him. And once I hit a nerve, he couldn't recuperate. He was like, oh, wait a minute. Not this guy again. Yes, I remember Pure Genius. I said that. See, that's how you be a pure genius. Just repeat everything I say. I never forget something that was really funny. Oh, Magic Johnson ain't mad at me at all. But I'll tell you something that's very funny that happened. What did Magic Johnson say that I said verbatim? Oh, what did Joe Budden say that I said verbatim? You forgot. And see? There we have it. And that's why I love live chat. I believe you. Let me tell you something. Hold on. One guy, it was very funny. This guy was telling me something. He had seen one of my videos, didn't know it was me who made the video. And he's sitting there trying to tell me and debate me on a subject that he got the information from me. And he's sitting there telling me what I said word for word almost. And I'm sitting there laughing to myself, and I'm like, this dude don't even know who he talking to. You talking to the author. I know exactly what happened. Then he was like, man, listen to this video right here. Oh, I was definitely cracking up because he was trying to argue with me. And he had the information wrong. I'm like, I know what it is because I know where you got it from. You got it from me. And he was like, man, I'm like, where you get this from? You got this from Casino, didn't you? Oh, you heard of him? Oh, wow. So that shows you how things work in this world. Uh-oh. I had to rotate the device. But now more and more people see my face, which I'm like, people are like, yeah, you be hiding. Why don't you show your face? I'm like, my profile picture has my face. Only about half of my videos show my face. You seen my house. You seen it. You seen where I drive. You see where I live. You know about my parents' house. You done seen more from me than anybody in life. You seen my grandmama's house. You seen everybody's house. I'm the most guy that's out there than anybody. But I don't cause any trouble. I'm not out looking for trouble for people. Have you ever heard of this show called Billions? It's a show you need to start watching. They're in season 2 right now. And what it is about a guy who's a self-made billionaire who has a gift with the stock markets, investments, everything. And he's going against the U.S. state's attorney. And they always battle. Axelrod, X Capital. It's not on Netflix, it's on Showtime. But what it is a true example of power. See, that's the son, and that's the father, the old man. And they sitting in a private resort, country club. And there's X, the billionaire, sitting right next to the father. So you're looking at a billionaire versus the Yale Club. And what this is a true test of today's rich versus yesterday's rich. That's old money. That's old money there. They have power and wealth. They did it the old-fashioned way. The really old-fashioned way. They inherited their wealth. So it's new money versus old money. The struggle for power. Two juggernauts. See, they use their history and their leverage to control and dominate, as the father's trying to groom the son to be just like him. And their prestigious Yale Club. And what it is a show of power between the two. See, I love to watch the elements of power and how it's divided, how people make moves, calculative. You guys are totally unaware of a lot of this stuff that happens. But it's very interesting. You will love the ride. Joy Lane. The name sounds familiar. Nope. Not saying you're stupid. Just saying that most of you are uninformed. That's all. Some people don't search or research, or they don't want to know. They're happy not knowing anything. Well, I'm glad everybody agreed. Trump presidency, is he doing a good job? Absolutely not. He had an education bill that was thrown out. He had a Muslim ban that was thrown out. He's he's not been effective at anything. He struck ISIS. He struck Syria, where we shouldn't even have gotten involved. That was between Russia's business. Now that's involved the United States. Now that puts us in a compromising position. So now they're behind the eight ball. I love that show too. So Trump hasn't done a great job. The Republicans run the House and Congress, and they voted against the education bill. The education bill is where you don't start. All the other presidencies have failed at the education bill. The Clinton administration failed with the education bill. The Republican Party, the Bush administration failed with the education bill. You saw the Obama come out with his education bill. And I mean, with health care, rather. And that health care thing got thrown out. That's something we don't want to mess with. The next war is not going to be fought the way people think. It's going to be a tech war. We're going to be tech warring people with spies, and we're in there hacking codes and hacking missiles and everything else. It's going to be a hacking war. And we're already fighting the tech Cold War. When they got Snowden, Snowden done so much damage to this country, the world might not even know. He's in Russia over there doing hacking jobs, trying to keep himself alive in Russia. He know if we get our hands on him, he's out. He's a traitor. No, Snowden betrayed the government. There's a difference. He's a hero. Who did he save? He betrayed his country. Of course, welfare is bad for the black community. You destroy black families for welfare, for a check. You replace the father with a check. So that means kids are growing up without their fathers in their lives. That leads to more crime, adolescence, challenging your mother, your parents, and things of that nature. You knew what you were doing when you made it up. That's why you said the father could not be in the household. What it was made for was to break African American families. In the 80s and the 70s, they had black families. Then it went to the single mom family. Mom raising the kids by themselves. Then it went from the grandmas raising the kids, because the moms are having the kids too young. So now grandma's got to raise the kids. So now you have a broken environment. Now you got kids running around out here not taught how to be men, so they grow up and they run wild. All about welfare. And they used to send the guys to the house to make sure that the father wouldn't even be in the home. Is it very hard to tell? Is it very hard to tell that when a household where there's a mother and father in the household, that is less likely your kid is going to go and do crime and break out? In a two-family household, mother, father, it's more healthier. Families ate at the dinner table together. Now that don't even happen too much anymore. It's community. Being involved with your neighbor. Being involved with your neighbor's neighbor. Community is how you build. You build from within. How many of y'all know or even talk to the people in your neighborhood, on your block, even know them? But you're so concerned about what happened in Ferguson when it's happening in your own neighborhood, you don't even care. Start worrying about your own community. Help fix your own community. If everybody did that, it would fix all the problems. Where my grandmother lives, there's no violence. There's no drugs being sold on the block. Nothing. Do you know why that is? Because they won't allow it. Everybody on that block is a community. My grandmother, all those people that's over there, they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. They're not going to let anybody come on their block, post up shop, and do stuff like that. And no gang or drug dealers want to be in an area where the area is being policed by the civilians. That's not a good culture for them. It's too active. There are no fiends out there for them to operate. They're not going to let their kids run off over there. I would never say it's too late. It's just that you got to get started. But what they got is all these distractions for you. Remember when you was a kid for Christmas, you would get like 10, 15 gifts, wouldn't you? You used to get like 10, 15, 20 gifts. I used to get 30 gifts for Christmas. When I was a kid, we used to get like 20, 30 gifts. You know what happened? We were broke and didn't know it. Because even though our family was broke, we was rich. Because everybody in our household, we were like 8, 9 deep. Everybody worked. They all had jobs. And everybody didn't go gang banging. They all did what they supposed to do. So the kids, we never knew we were poor. This is all we knew. This is where we grew up. We didn't know rich from poor. Rich, we thought people on TV, that's rich. I used to have 20, 30 gifts. Now, what happened is people can't, now they got to do this whole Christmas thing where it's Secret Santa. They can only give somebody one gift. You know why? Because they made the gifts more expensive on purpose. You got to pay $400 or $500 now to give a kid one gift. He needs the new PlayStation 35. I got to get the PlayStation 35 and I need the Nintendo Wii game, and that's about $600, $700 right there. $1,700 on 2 gifts, and you got to give him a pair of Jordans. That's $300. Then you got to do this. You ain't got nothing else. When you used to have money that you could have bought all your nieces and nephew gifts so that everybody would have a gift and nobody would be sad, you got to spend one gift for your kid now that costs like $600. You spending about almost $2,000 on them for Christmas over stuff that they gonna probably tear up and don't even need. Right, you got to have it now. I gotta have it. I gotta have it. I gotta have it. I gotta have it. I gotta get it. Well, and there's another fact. Jewish people spend money with the Jewish people. No problem. Greeks go to Greek restaurants. No problem. Italians, they go to the Italian restaurant. No problem. Chinese people, they go to the Chinese restaurant, get their food, eat. No problems. Where did we go? The soul food spot? Black guy have a store. We don't want to support his store because we can go to the other store because they got it $3 cheaper than the other brother. Oh, his price is too high. He $3 high. He can't afford to keep his prices that low. If all y'all was shopping at his store, he could drop the prices. You ever thought about that? But you rather go to this man and buy because he could lower the price down $3. So you can put brother man out of business. Why you think they started putting Walmarts in black communities, urban communities? It killed all the black businesses. They put Target, Walmart, sucked up all the black businesses, all the mom and pop shops, destroyed them, wiped them all out. And they bought that territory, made the blacks sell the land because they were renting it. And once they bought up all the property, they built little mini malls. That none of it is black owned. All the blacks are out. Right in the ghetto. And while they have a house way out in the northern suburbs, they're sucking up your dollars right there in your own neighborhood with a vacuum. And it's all going back here. Not to your community, not to help build up the concrete, not to help protect the schools or books for your kids. No, it's coming all the way back out north. They're not outsmarting black people. We know. We just refuse to do. We know this. You think the black store owners didn't tell them? They don't want to hear it. They don't care. They just want what's cheap. Ooh, it's cheaper. They don't see the big picture. Then they wonder, in the end, why they don't have anything in the neighborhood. Why the neighborhood's run down. Why is it dying? Why no one's helping? Because those stores in those areas that they built the mini mall for, they're not helping you. They never was there for you. They're there to take from you. Meanwhile, brother man would have been doing for you. But you ran him out the community. It's about segregation. Segregation's it never changed. When has segregation ever changed? Believe me, it's always been segregated. Chicago is one of the most segregated places since the South. Bridgeport, They're the most racist people on the planet. And it's right by the White Sox Park. Right over the bridge is where the poor people are, the brothers. But they all come to the game. But you can't go down walking down the street in Bridgeport without a white person saying, hey, what are you doing over here? Go back over the bridge. No, it isn't. You could be rich and still can't live in certain areas. You think it's about segregation is about rich and poor? No, brother. You got it all wrong. There's rich people that can't go and live in certain places because they don't want them there. A rich black man tried to live where Mayor Daley lives in the same neighborhood and buy a house, and he was refused because they didn't want him in there. Floyd Mayweather almost got kicked out of his multi-million-dollar house that he owns because they have a housing community. And if they vote you out, you're out. So you can't live where you want to live. That's the illusion. No, all Floyd was doing was being Floyd Mayweather. And they didn't like that. Too many blacks coming over to an area where across for him, the Maloofs, who are billionaires, own hotels, are not used to seeing a lot of black people who are poor and don't have a lot that close to where they live. Even though they're not finna go over to the Maloof. You know, they didn't like that many cars coming over to the house. So they're dictating to Floyd how many cars could be there. How many, you can't have that many cars in the driveway. The grass, the guy's cutting the grass. He's out there too early. He got to come in at a certain time. Anything they can do to get him out, they were going to try. It's not just the Maloofs. The Maloofs is just one family that lives over there. There's a lot of other families that live in that area. Of course it's a dictatorship. Why do you think these billionaires live where they live? Most of these people live a life they never have to deal with black people a day in their life. But yet they so outraged by them. And that always blow my mind. I'm like, you in your walk of life, you never really have to deal with black people. Never really have to see them except for television. Where you guys live out here in the super rich areas. You guys don't even have to worry about these problems. But yet and still, you so worried about the blacks and the Hispanics. Where you live, if you run into a black or Hispanic, he's about 6 figures, 7 figures deep. And believe me, he's not worried about you. So why would you be worried about him? And like I said, the lady, they grew up different. They grew up with the notion of she's not racist. She was so afraid to be that she was going to do something racist. She was apologizing for things she hadn't even done yet because she just hadn't been around blacks. And because they denied their daughter to be around black people when they really didn't, she never did. So when the first black people they met, she's like, oh my God, they're so cool. Look, I got a black friend, and I want to bring him home and show my mom I got a black friend now. They never been around black people before. So for them, this was an enlightenment. And this is when Section 8 was starting to be introduced out here in the suburban area in the year of 1996. So in 1996, they approved Section 8 for the northern suburbs, which would never take Section 8, which led to a whole different amount of despair, whole different amount of people that's coming from the hood. They coming to these nice suburban homes, and then you got 6, 7 hood dudes trapping from suburban homes, and they selling drugs in the area. So it just was not a good scene. Well, the Facebook killer, which I know Zuckerberg was so mad he had to come out and make a statement because the FBI and everybody's looking on him to make revisions to Facebook, and you're gonna see a whole lot of changes on Facebook now. They're gonna police everybody because this was a bad look for Facebook, and they kept calling him the Facebook killer. Everywhere he was, they called him the Facebook killer because he posted it on Facebook. That's why it was such a manhunt to catch him. Out of anybody in the world, they put a manhunt on this guy. And I'm surprised, knowing his car, knowing his plates, all this technology they got, and they couldn't find him. This man was in Erie, Pennsylvania, and he decided to go to McDonald's, which shows you he wasn't too bright. He should have been at John's Barbecue Shack in the hood. He decided to go over there and get him a number 3 at McDonald's. Like the world ain't looking for him. Now, this is where everybody's heart is at. Isaiah Thomas has not been playing basketball the same. He's completely affected by the loss of his sister. Completely. It depends. You can marry a white woman in Chicago, and she could be rich, and there's some areas you can't live. It's just that you're never gonna be accepted in certain areas, and they'll act like they support you and accept you, but it's very limited. But about Isaiah Thomas, this is where everybody's heart is at, because an NBA player having to go through this, man, having to go out and play when he really don't feel like playing. And it feel like the team got such a burden on their shoulders trying to represent for him.